This is the Richland City Hall, which is the service they have applied at the Richland City Hall. Administration COVID-19 policy, regulation, and services with your birth certificate, which is Richland, Washington. And also Nebraska certificate for Nebraska State, Cornhuskers, and Texas State, which is Lone Star State, just like Wyoming, All-Star State, Cowboy State, but this is Nebraska. Now Nebraska got the COVID-19 policy, regulation, and service. Richland City Hall, which is the 625, and we have 625 on Swift Boulevard. It carries the COVID-19 policy and regulations at 625 Swift Boulevard. City Hall ordinance has the compliance of the individual Richland City Hall placking, and that placking is always illustrated all over Felix Barela. All over his COVID-19 policy, regulation, and service center. Individual systematic download of COVID-19 policy, primary presidential election, the COVID-19 and Richland City Hall mayor, and also the county members, and also the city manager. Service implying the COVID-19 policy, regulation, and services. Administration COVID-19 policy, regulation, and services. And that automatic transaction EFT. Social Security Office, and that city dedicated placking in June 2019. Robert J. Thompson, County Council Member, Michael E. Alvarez, Bradley B. Anderson, Terry J. Christensen, Sandra E. Kent, Philip, and that's Philip R. Lemley, and Ryan J. Lutzkin. And City of Manager is synthesized by D. Rents. No, Mr. Andy Miller, Wash State Prosecutor at the Administration after COVID-19 policy, regulation, and services. Individual automatic transaction services. This outlook and upgrades of this COVID-19 policy, regulation, and services. This download of the imaging face recognition, also this McFay process is this download. Applying the COVID-19 policy here at Swift and Jadwin, which is 900 and 500 block, which is the water and sewer, and also the electricity power hydraulic water lines that's connected to the elbow, the nuts, the planking, the steel tubing, the steel casting, the 90-degree angle, the boom extension, the bolts and gurneys into this awesome individual automatic download. Now this hydraulic water line, West Virginia Appliance, Mississippi, Mighty Columbia River ordinance is complying with COVID-19 policy, regulation, and service. Individual automatic download that carry this COVID-19 policy, regulation, services to its automatic download at the face recognition, the compromise of an initial consultation and services. Mr. Andy Miller, Mr. Solstavo Wallace, COVID-19 policy, regulation, and services, and all the administration code, and racing information on that download, applying to COVID-19 policy, regulations, and services. That steel casting tubing, that water, the access service, that the BFT transfer station, and also their service applying that COVID-19 policy and regulations. Quality control, huh? The COVID-19 policy regulation is 625 address, which is the applied services. That's Andy Miller, Mr. McKinnon, 704 East Olive. Show us talk about George Washington House and George Washington House and broken down services they have in Musk Lake and also here in Richland, Washington. Mr. Andy Miller, 509-735-3591, fax 509-736-3066, and also the fax machine, applying fax increments and automatic transaction office max. This service applying the COVID-19 policy regulations.